I think that when you look at who are the villains in the first season, you get Vera, you get Ron, you get Price, the CEO of Evil Corp, Terry Colby, you know, Krista's boyfriend,
Mhm.
like, and I
Fuckhead.
mean, whether he's even a
He's a
villain,
fuckhead.
yeah, he's more of a fuckhead. There's a couple of fuckheads because Angela's boyfriend is a fuckhead. Such a dick. Ollie's
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
douche, enjoys,
yeah.
Josh Groban and all of that. But either way, like, when you look at it, it's just like certain people you just know, like, it's like there's different levels of villainy in it,
Hmm.
you know? And you don't exactly know where to place each person, but at the end of the day, it changes faces so much. Like it's not the same kind of person. Ron looks like an unassuming, businessman, and
Hmm.
turns out that he's running this whole shit under the other side, and then Vera looks like he's just some dumb gangster, and
Yeah, yeah.
it, he's stupid as stupid as any gangster gets. But
Yeah, yeah.
But it also kind of shows that you can't trust anyone just by looking at them.
Right.
So it's like, oh, he's a family man. Da, da, da. No,
Nope.
this nigga got pornography, child porn at that, on all his
Right,
service.
right.
That's why all his coffee shop has the best internet. Then you got this fuckhead over here, got a whole damn family, but dating women on the side. Then you got this dickhead over here, tells Angela, I love you, but then you know what?
Yeah.
And Elliot's like
About
exposing
that.
all that shit. He's like, "Yo, man, I just think we should just be friends. Like, we should just be like cool." And Elliot's just like, "Yo, I know like your whole life. I fucking like hacked into all your Facebook inboxes,
Hmm.
like all your messages, all your DMs. Man, I could just literally end your world right now. But you know what?
Yeah.
Out of
Fuck out of here.
out of respect,
so,
Angela, I'm gonna let you rock."
Exactly.
but he said it. He was like, man, Ali's too dumb to be evil. Like
Right, right,
like
right.
he's not the evil. The evil guys are these other guys. And you know who we really didn't get into yet? We need to touch on Tyrell.
We'll touch on him.
Okay.
All right, so I had put in when we first met Elliot, he was just thinking about what he did instead of going to Angela's birthday party, which was destroy Ron's life.
Mhm.
Uh, because of that, he thinks he's being followed. Because of that one thing, he thinks he's being followed.
Mhm.
Um, Mr. Robot talks to him on the train on his way to work.
Mhm.
He works at Allsafe, who works for E Corp.
Well, I think
Uh,
that's their client. Uh,
yeah.
court.
Well, when you have a client, you're working for them.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Okay.
So
Not
yeah,
only that, they're their biggest client.
yeah,
Without Evil Corp, they go down.
yep.
Mhm. Mhm.
Krista, his therapist, talks about how he's not yelling.
Mm.
Talks about how he's not yelling anymore. Why did Elliot have to go to therapy in the first place? I
Mm.
think Dre touched on that. But I was like, he's not yelling anymore. Who would be yelling? Elliot don't yell like that.
Mhm.
um, then he goes on his little mental tangent. That's when you first hear him say "fuck society." When you hide, your delusions come back. That's what Krista says. Like she noticed he was not talking to her. Like you ever talk to somebody and you know like they're thinking about what you're saying, but they're not really listening to you.
Mhm.
So he was up in his head. She was like, "You're hiding again. When you hide, your delusions come back."
Mhm.
And honestly, they did because he thinks people are following him.
Can I talk a little bit about their
Go ahead.
relationship?
Go ahead.
I like the fact that he did some digging on the guy that she was dating, and he found out that he was fucking married. Like he was fucking
Right.
married,
That's what we were
and
saying before. Yeah.
And he was like, all right, what can I do to make this all go away? Took his fucking dog.
Oh, and I'm gonna need something from you. Like that was the dopest thing.
He's like, that's it? You just want my dog? Fuck it. I don't want this fucking dog. Like, fuck it.
But then that's the funny fuck shit though, because at the end he was like, he took my dog. You don't even care about that fucking dog.
Exactly.
Like, come on. Like he was making Flipper go to the bathroom, pulling her up by her the leash and everything. You don't care about that damn dog.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, to continue, Tyrell Wellick. Like the first thing he says, well, one of the first things he says to Elliot as he's talking to him, he's like, "It's going to be fun working with you."
The most memorable thing he ever said to me was bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Elliot. Bonsoir.
I'm like,
Elliot.
yo, son.
He says it like 2 times. He says it twice in the first season, and I remembered that because he says it once, like one time in season 2. But we'll get to that next episode.
Okay.
But yeah, so he was like bonsoir. Like he gets a call by Angela, and Allsafe is under a DDoS attack. So he gets there, realizes what it is. They fly to Virginia, and he finds the line F Society 00 D dot. And it says, "Leave me alone." He's like, "I don't know what to do here, but I don't want to delete it. So I'm just going to leave it here, but fix something real quick so only I can see it."
And then Gideon picks up on that.
Not immediately, but yeah.
Not exactly either.
Okay.
Gideon never really picks up on, exactly what everything was. He just knows that, he really doesn't even know too much. He knows what Elliot told him.
Mm-hmm. But I think he was kind of like picking at him a little bit. Like, he was like, yo, what? All right, about that night, like,
because I mean,
what was going on? Like,
yeah, well, I mean,
No.
it is Gideon's company though. So
yeah,
he
it
knows
is.
that.
Yeah.
So I don't really blame him for getting into it like that. Yeah, Mr. Robot ends up coming up to him fully now because he did talk to him on the train, but now he's up to him fully. He's like, "Yeah, if you didn't delete it, follow me. If you did, we have nothing to talk about."
The fuck? Yo, did this bum on the street just tell me something about my job that I did in Virginia? Right? It's like, what the fuck is going on,
Yeah.
So he follows him to Coney Island. I don't know where this happens in the episode, but there's one part where he says to Darlene, "Where's your boss?" Like talking about Mr. Robot. She's like, "Cut the bullshit."
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, because upon first watching that, I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, I just met you, lady.
Dude, I wrote that rude kit. Right. Fucking dickhead.
real quick, I just want to point out that there was one point where my stepdad was mentioning to, like, when it first came out, I wasn't really watching it. So my stepdad was telling me about the show, and he's like, I really enjoy the fact that they're really putting out real code, like real hacker type shit. Cause he, like, my stepfather knows all about that, like, back end type code. And he's like, that's real shit. Like, that's real, like, hacking type shit. So I appreciate that as a fellow front end developer, I could appreciate.
So at the end of that, Terry Colby goes down. And I noticed it's because, like, if you guys notice, he was about to tell on F Society.
Mm-hmm.
He had all the information he was about to tell on F Society, but then Terry Colby did some fuck shit to Angela, so he put the white envelope in his book bag and took out a blue envelope and gave it to the police. I don't know if everybody realized that.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Wellick's guys picked him up, and took him to Wellick.
Mhm.
So he's trying to get him in a position at E Corp.
Mhm.
And he's like, can I think about it?
Because he really don't want to work there. He's like, fuck E Corp.
So then he says no.
Yeah.
It's funny how you just pull up on him on his job too. Like,
Yeah. He tries to hack Tyrell and then realizes that it's too easy to hack him. And he's like, wait, does he want me to hack him? Oh shit, I gotta wipe. Like
Yo, Tyrell is a fucking he. I can't describe him, but he's real like
Shady.
shady,
Shady.
shadowy, snaky, like
Slithery.
slithery.
Slimy.
Yeah, he's
Cowardice.
real.
Cowardice?
He can be
Yeah,
cowardice
he's a
because
yeah.
when things don't go his way, he does.
He
is.
beats himself up a lot.
Yeah. It
He's
also
very
beats up bums.
yeah. He's very weird.
yeah, he's very like manipulative. Like he has a way of like getting his own way. It's like, oh, you're not gonna do this? Well, I got the drop on you with this. It's like, so you can do this the easy way, you can do this the hard way. It's like, fuck, we know I want to do the easy way.
And we really get to see exactly how deep that goes. Pause.
He's
In
he's
episode
on the
3.
he's on the low. So
You know what? He really didn't care anything about, like he doesn't care if he's attracted to males or not. He wants to accomplish a goal, and
right.
to accomplish that goal, he'll do anything. And so he just wants to
He will he
make intense Miranda Cosgrove happy.
he will fuck he will fuck anything over. No pun intended.
All for intense Miranda Cosgrove. That is my nickname for her. Like,
Yeah, it's weird because it's like I don't want to get too deep into that like scene where it's like he comes in the house and she's like all like strapped up, and he's just like, I don't want to do it. She's like, I don't care, get over here, and
mind you, that is the scene right after he just got out of that man.
Right.
it's like I'm not surprised. There's actual people like that. Like there's people who dress like that and they're in these high positions and they're living like they into like the most obscure shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you won't even know because it's just like he's like very conservative. He's very like suit wearing like kind of like guy, and
He looks like the textbook businessman, And they
Yep.
said he was one of the youngest executives, ever for them, and stuff like that. So, we see like he really, gets a little bit big for his britches, but we'll talk more. Go ahead, continue.
Snowdo's kind of a question to everybody. So we went over the whole season. We know who Mr. Robot is. So after Darlene breaks into his apartment and they go to Coney Island again, Mr. Robot, as soon as they go into F Society, Mr. Robot immediately turns on. Because he starts talking, he starts addressing everybody, goes to the terminal, da da da. My question was, does everyone hear the conversation going on between Elliot and Mr. Robot?
We really don't know. We really don't know because at the end of the day, he is talking to himself.
Right.
So that could be literally, or that could be just like that's what we see. Because at the end of the day, it's all subjective. We're seeing what Elliot wants us to see.
Yeah, so because there's a possibility that they only hear his side of that conversation when Mr. Robot is not completely out.
Right. Because he could be directing them, and at the same time, in mid sentence, fucking argue with himself. But
Yes.
they're showing that he's arguing with Mr. Robot. So it's like anytime that he's there with Mr. Robot, it's like, all right, we got to do this, da 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 da. But what you said, but I'm
Basically,
trying to, yeah, basically talking to himself,
Basically.
and they're like looking at him like, what the fuck? All right, well, just listen to him. He got something to say.
because there's a scene where he's talking to Mr. Robot, and then I forgot what he said, but Trenton looked at him like, the fuck? And then he walked past Darlene, and she's looking up at her from her magazine like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
but they're only looking at Elliot.
And sometimes some scenes they're looking directly at Mr. Robot.
Because that's who's on.
And yeah.
It's all about who has control.
Vera and Shayla's apartment. We talked about that. We already know what happened there. Shayla asked him not to do anything. Of course, he doesn't listen. And yeah, he goes back to Krista's. Krista's saying that she notices him slipping into old patterns and behaviors. So this has happened before.
Yeah.
Ollie gets hacked by a CD handed to him on the street.
Yo, I'm a rapper. Check out my mixtape.
He was like, all right, you try to sell me the CD for 2 weeks now. All right, I'll buy it.
Right? He's like, I'll take it.
And I was like, oh, wow. That's a dedicated hacker.
You can't trust nobody.
Nobody. So I don't take those CDs. Like, who
Like, yo.
mixtapes on
What's-
actual vinyl anymore?
And he was targeted. He was definitely targeted.
Yeah, of
'cause
course he was.
They knew that he was stupid.
I don't
They knew
trust
who he was.
I don't trust Tyrell's parents. I'm like, I've never heard a white guy named Tyrell ever in my life.
Word. I was thinking about that too. Tyrell Wellick. Like, aren't you supposed to be like Swedish? Like, which Swedish parents came over here and was like, oh, Tyrell.
Tyrell.
He's
Like,
Tyrell.
especially he's supposed to be like under 30 and gets that job. They would have saw his name Tyrell Wellick. No, he's adopted.
He's a gangbanger.
That's so fucking stupid. Anyway, then we cut to Elliot and Mr. Robot talking at the boardwalk in Coney Island, and they're talking about Elliot's dad, and Mr. Robot throws him off the railing into some sharp ass rocks.
Yeah. That
So-
part I didn't. It's like, bro, like, did you push yourself off or what's
He did.
okay?
He did.
He just jumped.
Like, he was here, and then it goes. Like,
Like they need to. This is what they need to do. They need to edit Chris Slater out of the show and show how he interacts with himself.
Yo, I would love
They
to
me
see
too.
that. But as far as the boardwalk fall, that's on YouTube. You can see Elliot by himself fall off that. You know? So like that's what's really dope about the show too. There's a lot of things outside of the screen that you can do to get deeper into it. So all right, let's continue.
all right. So I wrote this thing about Angela,
Okay.
where basically I was like, okay, remember that scene where she's jogging and some dude runs past her and drops something on the floor? So she picks up the wallet and gives it to him. And then here comes 2 seconds later, this black lady talking about, that was my wallet. He just mugged me.
Yeah.
And then she goes to Ollie like, yeah, I just, like, something weird just happened. I just gave somebody their wallet because they dropped it. And then Ollie's stupid ass cuts her off. And he's like, yeah, because you're a good person. That just shows how good of a person you are. She's mad gullible.
Mm-hmm.
She's extremely gullible. And it's
And
like,
naive.
if you see a man with a purse holding it up to his chest like this,
Running.
odds are it ain't his. Like, I would look around first, be like, oh shit, before I picked up that wallet and gave it to him.
It could be his.
If I see somebody with a purse and they don't look like a man that normally carries a purse, I'm going to think he stole it.
It could be a
Or-
merce.
Or like if he's running and it's not like over his shoulder using a strap, then if you don't look like you've used this thing normally, then yeah, you probably stole it.
It could be a merce. You never know.
It's a satchel. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna just run through the next few notes. Elliot goes back to work after that, and they're saying, "No, you should take off work." He's like, "Nah, I'm gonna go back to work," basically. And he has a meeting with Gideon. Gideon is inviting the whole team to his house for like a dinner date type of thing. And Mr. Robot is upstairs at his job. Like, how the fuck did he get up there? Anyway, but yeah, he's about to he said, "Oh, I'm gonna make a scene. I'm gonna make a scene. You better come with me. We gotta talk and everything." So they talk and whatever. He's like, "Yo, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm out." He's like, "All right, fine." So now Elliot thinks he's free. He's getting some Starbucks, lighting shit on Instagram, having a normal life. So he thinks. He even asked Shayla to be his girlfriend. And they go to the party, and they're having a pretty good time. He's starting to enjoy himself. Like we said before, he's really not good with social gatherings and everything. So he's starting to come out a little bit. And then what comes on the news? Kerry Colby behind the leak that killed 20-something people that worked for eCourt.
Yep.
And then he just leaves and just like, fuck this shit. I'm out. He starts taking morphine again, even though he doesn't have the Suboxone. And that's going to fuck him up. Because they have to go to Steel Mountain, and he is going cold turkey because now Vera is in jail. He can't get his Suboxone.
And he can't be a junkie, He can't allow himself to actually be a non-functioning drug addict, just a morphine head where, it's uncontrollable. So you gotta go. You gotta quit that shit. Which and shout out to the withdrawal scene.
Yo, that
Oh my god.
Resonate on that. Like that whole withdrawal scene, and we know exactly everything that's going on, but Mr. Robot is sitting there with him, like coach him through that, because you really do need that if you're going to go through a serious withdrawal.
Yeah.
Going through it alone, you're probably you might hurt yourself, you might not make it through, you might quit, you might go on a bender. You never know what could happen. So Mr. Robot really stuck that through with him and said, I got you. Shortly after, like during that scene, we see a scene where Elliot is like, "Yo, I just need a hit. I just need a hit. I just need to, just one hit, and I could get through it." And Mr. Robot's like, "All right, fuck it, cool, I got you." And he takes him to the dope house, and the dude is like, "Yo, only Elliot can come in, like unless you going to be getting high too." So Elliot goes in, and they're like, "Yo, we don't have any of your morphine, but we got this heroin." And she ties it around his arm and shoots it up into his arm, gets on his lap, and then all of a sudden somebody busts in and starts shooting everything up. Elliot shot, girl shot, everybody shot.
That's fucking crazy.
Everybody shot. And then what happens? He wakes up, right, in the exact bed that he was in,
It was that whole dream sequence. He got shot, and then he falls, and he can still see the TV, and on comes a F Society video talking to Elliot, and then what's next? damn, I forgot the dream sequence that happened after that. But then he goes to he's talking to Cordy. Mind you, Tyrell is in his room at the computer, frozen. But he's talking to Cordy, who has the voice of Nunu's daddy.
The Shadow Man.
Got the voice of Nunu's daddy. He was like, I see you all the time and everything, but you know what you can do for me? He's like, what, Cordy? Push me to a goddamn window. And then immediately after that, Angela's eating him. And he's like, Angela, that's my friend. He's like, well, your friend tastes good. Like what the fuck? Yo, it was just weird, but it was to get him through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all of that stuff just lets you know exactly how deep this man's mind, really takes him on a trip. Like, and it's good. We got front row seats. We got the best seat in the house.
Right.
We're in his mind with him.
We're his imaginary friend.
Basically, but I mean, so is Mr. Robot. So
Yeah.
we're kind of in the same seat. Like, but okay, so like right before the morphine withdrawal scene, Romero picks up that he is a junkie from the jump. Like, because that day he starts getting dark circles on his eyes, he starts sweating, da da da. He goes to F Society just to tell him the plan, and was like, all right, I'm out. He's like, where the fuck you going? Like, and he was like, basically he's telling him, yo, this is not my operation. But then Mr. Robot said something really important to him. Like, this is important to me. He was like, you're the key to this whole thing. You're the only force of nature here.
Wow.
And that, like, he says, like, if you really listen, pay attention, he says a lot of stuff like that throughout the season. Kind of like tipping the audience off, like, yo, there's something bigger going on here.
You matter. You're the biggest part of this, And like it's like Mr. Robot knows that he can't, exactly tell Elliot who he is straight out. He knows that he has to coax him into it, but at the same time, he has to, like it's a fine line that he got to push, but it's working. He's got Elliot to do most of what he wanted him to do anyway. So.
Oh, and throughout that whole tripping dream sequence, they're always asking him, "What's your monster?" or "Who's the monster?" or something like that, and everything. Kind of also tipping the audience off, like there's something there. Like there's something there. I think the monster being Mr. Robot. That's just my interpretation of that.
Right.
But he's still not understanding what the fuck they're talking about. He's like, "What do you mean? Who's my monster? What are you talking about?" Like,
Could be Mr. Robot.
I think so too.
I don't think it is. I think Mr. Robot was created because of his monster. I don't know who his monster is, but I think that Mr. Robot is there to, he couldn't deal with something with like the regular normal way. So he created Mr. Robot inadvertently, and Mr. Robot is the one that deals with that. That makes those, that has those ideas that are too big for regular humans. Those delusions of grandeur, and Mr. Robot may have these delusions of grandeur, but Elliot is the one that can actually achieve this shit. Elliot is still the brains.
Right.
So they get to Steel Mountain, because that was the whole mission. Right? They get to Steel Mountain. They get in there. They make this poor man feel like shit.
Ha.
He gets to level 2. He sees oh no, he doesn't get to level 2 yet. He sees Tyrell, thinks he's in trouble, and then Tyrell out of like him ego tripping him, takes him upstairs to the lunchroom on level 2 and everything. And we kind of get a glimpse a little bit more of how Tyrell thinks and everything. He looks down on ordinary people.
Yeah.
So like he thinks he has Elliot all figured out. And then like once he gets like Elliot's trying to hack E Corp for revenge purposes, he starts looking down on him. He was like, I expected more from you. Da, da, da. And Elliot's just looking at him like, okay. All right. So then we get into Vera Vera figures out that why he is in jail and how he is in jail. And I think I know why. One of the pictures is of a gun on a night table. And it's in Shayla's apartment. Because I remember that scene and it kind of like panned up to where they were. And I remember that picture. So he kept looking at that picture. He was like, I know you. He's like, I know who it is. So he kidnaps Shayla and Elliot. Dre, you want to take it from here?
Oh man. So he kidnapped Shayla and Elliot, and so we open up the episode to see Elliot and Shayla at a diner just talking, and like somebody bumps their table, rude as hell. Nobody really cares. Nobody's defending them or anything like that. And you know, in the scene, uh Vera's brother says time's up, yokes Shayla up, grabs her around the neck, drags her out the bar. Uh DJ, Vera's right hand man, along with his brother, take Elliot into the back where he talks to Vera, and Vera's like, listen, you need to get me out of jail. You got me in jail, you need to get me out of jail. So it gotta be tonight. It gotta be tonight. Somebody's trying to kill me, so it has to be tonight, you know? And Elliot's like, yo, it's impossible to happen. He's like, yo, I will kill your girl. I will kill your girl if you don't do it, you know? And I'll kill you. He's like, all right, so whatever. So now Elliot's fucked and he's trying to figure out how he's going to do this for, how he's exactly going to get her out of this situation. Especially when you go through that conversation that they were having at the diner table was mainly about the fact that she said you promised you wouldn't do anything about everything. Like she was already starting a new job, she already working a regular job, not selling drugs, stuff like that. So I mean, if Elliot would have left it alone and not gotten Vera locked up, who knows if Vera would have targeted her for any other reason, you know, or if, or if he would have just left her alone because it would have been too much work to go out of his way and torment this one girl, you know. But Elliot helped put that target on.
From that point on, he's trying to figure out what to do. He's trying to figure out Isaac, Vera's brother. He's trying something about him isn't sitting right, so he starts hacking him. And then he ropes Darlene into helping him, and that don't really work because the police officer's malware picks up on it. So they figure something else out, and then he goes to talk to Vera, basically saying, look, I figured it out. I just need more time right here. And then he was like, so when I figure it out, all of your shit is mine. So if I get hurt, all of your shit's going down. Right. It's getting deleted.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about, boy. Yeah. Give it to me, Elliot.
Yo,
sit down. All right. Okay.
This dude was an idiot, though. So, now he leaves from talking to Vera, and now Isaac wants to kill Elliot. Why you want to kill me? I'm getting your brother out, unless you don't want me to get him out.
Elliot figures out that Isaac is the one that's trying to get Vera killed while he's in jail. So he pulls the fast one on him and says, well, Vera said that he's gotten in with a good crew now, so now he's protected, And Isaac is like, bullshit. He's like, yo, listen, you need me. I'm gonna get him. You can't kill him in jail anymore. I can get him out, and you do with your brother what you want. Just leave me and Shayla out of it. It's like, cool. So, you go, and he performs the hack, and now you got the scene where they're right outside of the jail. It is 9:49 on the clock, and this is supposed to, all the cell doors are supposed to open at 9:50, and everybody's supposed to be able to get out. So 9:50 hits, and all of the doors open. All of the criminals and all of the inmates come rushing out the gates, and you see Vera there, just like happy. Said, "Told you, I'm a hug," right? You see Isaac standing there, and before Vera shows up, DJ asks Isaac, "Yo, what you need your piece for?" And Isaac is like, "Yo, in case any of these, fools want to run up on me, I'm gonna stay ready, or whatever." We knew that Isaac was trying to kill Vera. So when Vera comes up, he says, "DJ, kill a cocksucker." DJ pulls the gun, bow, shoots Isaac right in the head. Isaac falls to the floor. Right? And then from then on, we don't even look at Isaac. We just get one of the most beautifully crafted monologues by a villain ever. And Vera tells Elliot, like, look, you tried to pull all of this shit and you tried to say, that all my money gets deleted and stuff like that and my whole business is over. No, take your head and look at my brother dead on the ground and blood spilling out of his head. If that doesn't symbolize my whole operation being over, I don't know what does. So just like Cain killed Abel, I shall be a fugitive wandering the earth. Right? So,
God damn.
So now he's walking away. And Elliot is like, no, where's Shayla? He's like, DJ, give him the keys. I told you was going to get her back. You just didn't know she was with you the whole time.
Oh.
Gets the keys, opens the trunk, and we see Shayla in the trunk. After a very long time, you see the exact expression that of Elliot's, Elliot's emotion as he sees his girlfriend, everything that he was fighting for, with a slit throat in the trunk of this car. Now, what's crazy is you think about the episode. Shayla had to be killed immediately after, like as immediately after they dragged her from the diner table, because ever since then she was in the trunk of that car. And if you actually like the scene after that, after Elliot talks to Vera and sees that and Vera tells him, you got to break me out, the camera is on the trunk of the car and it pans out and they pull up to Elliot's house and Elliot is like, where's Shayla? He's like, nigga, mind your business, shut up. And just kept it moving, So it's like, it really shows you exactly how fucking sick Vera really is. Like, there's only really one thing that Elliot really cared about, and that was just keeping Shayla safe. That's all that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it was just like too little too late, because after she had already been kidnapped, she was as good as dead. And Mr. Robot was trying to convince him, like, yo, you got to pull out of this. You can't do what you're about to do because, like, there's too much going on. It's going too deep and you're not going to win regardless, So, yeah, like, that was, to me, that was one of the craziest episodes of the first season. Episode 6 is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Y'all have anything else to say about that episode? Sean's like, I ain't touching it.
Well,
Not- Not too much. It was a wild episode.
Yeah, only reason why I'm asking is because like I've seen a couple recaps on YouTube, and a lot of them are like they didn't really like it because it was like, oh, it detracts from like that the main hack, and it doesn't really have a point. But then I guess it does, and I'm like, no, he needed to see the repercussions of his actions. He could have
Yeah.
left it alone. He could have left it alone. He over and underestimated what he could do and what Vera can do.
Right. Right.
So it's like you don't know who you're fucking with. You and even Vera says like, "Yo, I want that superpower that you got." He was like, "Yes, you can do this, that, and the third, but they have your life literally in their clutches. Like you have to be careful."
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, when the next episode comes on, you see when Elliot first met Shayla when she first moved into the building
And
and everything.
she gave him QWERTY. You know, it's like just to talk about, exactly what you were saying about everybody who disliked the whole Shayla arc. It was necessary. It was really necessary because that guilt is a lot that Elliot is dealing with. That guilt that did, he really was 100% of like the reason that she lost her life. And this is the only person that he's ever really had a connection with. That next episode, you see, after you see how he meets Shayla, you see that he's sitting in Krista's office, and Krista is just talking to him, saying you're doing well and stuff like that, and whatever. And all he's thinking is like, yo, like, I can't believe I did this shit. And like, it's been a month. Like, it was a month time skip
Yeah.
from when Shayla died to the next episode that we see.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
like, we don't know what happens during that month. So maybe we'll find out, maybe not. But that is, once again showing you that we only get to see what Elliot allows us to see, you know? So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
I kind of have an idea of what happened during that month because he even specifies that month. This is like in this point of the season, this is where we see more interactions with Elliot by himself and then with Mr. Robot by himself.
Hmm.
Because okay, so I'm gonna just read it real quick what I got, and then we can talk about it. Elliot hasn't taken any time off from work since Shayla. He's being released from Krista because she says he's doing so well. Blah blah blah. Um, find someone you can be your honest self with is what Gideon told him. He's like, what kind of crack of bullshit? He's like, you know what? That's some good advice. I'm gonna take that. Like basically, and then right after that scene, Mr. Robot and Darlene are talking in a bar by themselves. Okay. Um, then you jump to Elliot hasn't spoken to us in a month. So it's been a month and he hasn't spoken to us in a month. So what has Mr. Robot been doing for that month?
Wow, shit.
Apparently,
Elliot, and more importantly, Elliot doesn't even know.
nope. So yeah, Elliot wipes the CPU after saving Shayla to his disk because that's what he does after he hacks everybody. Mr. Robot goes to visit Romero that night by himself. Points a gun at Romero. Mind
Mm.
you, it was Romero's gun. I didn't realize that. We just saw the episode. Romero comes out because he didn't know who the fuck was in his backyard. He's like, man, it's you. Puts his gun down. They start talking with everything. I don't know when Mr. Robot picks up the gun, but he starts threatening him, and Romero reaches for the gun and it's not there. And then he takes it out of his belt, and this is like, you're gonna finish what you said you started. um, yeah, Angela goes to talk to Colby. He basically told her to suck his dick.
Wow.
But then like after she says what she says to him, he's like, you know what? I hope you're happy with your life. He calls her back to his office. Um, Tyrell Wellick strangles Sharon Knowles.
Ooh.
Like, I don't. Did y'all think that he meant to kill her?
Nah.
He didn't.
He's crazy though. He's demented.
He is. I
Like
believe that.
he oh man.
Yes, he's demented. I can't say why he actually killed her, you know? Like I think he really was just completely acting out of passion because even the way that it was shot, he was like, you know what, just went all out and kissed her, right? And they was about to fuck right there on the roof. And that's what he seemed like he wanted to do. That seemed like exactly, the final goal or whatever. But right in the middle of it, he's like, fuck it, choke this bitch, strangle her out,
He
kill her.
wants to be in control so bad, and he loves the power that he gets from it to the point where he's like, "Oh shit! Like I fucking killed her."
Exactly.
And
I,
you asked if a psychopath meant to kill her.
I don't think
This is a
he.
psychopath. Like
You can be a psychopath and not be that type of psychopath. Like Elliot is kind of psycho, but he's not that type of psycho. Like
nah, Elliot's just
I
too
think he's a
smart for his own good.
socio. I think he's a sociopath. Well,
no, like, you know what? This is the thing. Um, I can't say that he's a sociopath or a psychopath just because the one part of that is not having regular human emotions, you know? Um, but he definitely is mentally unstable in some way, shape, or form. The fact that he's willing to do whatever to achieve his purpose is fucked up. Like, is in itself a mental problem. So the fact that he killed Sharon knows just like when the like once he realized he did it, all of the love music stopped.
mhm.
It was a crime of passion. He really um he wanted to dominate her, and
Yeah.
and
See
that's
how far.
probably how it turned from
Mhm.
sex dominating her. Now he's on top of her, strangling her, and now he just beat her because she was picking him apart. Like, let's be honest, she was picking him apart. Like,
Yeah.
you are such a coward. Just exactly how we described Tyrell. She was like, you pitiful. You like this is all you trying. And I don't know why she was about to have sex with him, but
Because he was an executive. Like,
Because he was a
her
white guy named
husband was a
Tyrell.
bigger executive,
yeah.
and her husband knew that he wanted to fuck his wife.
but he got that young blood. He got that young energy. He got that. He
She
got
wasn't.
that. He got that young. Know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
yeah, maybe because I mean, she did turn him away once, and after she turned him away, he was like, "Oh, that's all it took for you to stop." It's like, yo, that doesn't sound like a chick that don't want you. That don't want you to keep pushing forward with it. So, she played her hard to get, and he was like, "Ah, I gotcha." Like, so yeah,
And even his wife knew what he was going to do, so I guess she's fine with that too. But yeah, after that, Elliot goes back to Krista and comes out to her that he's been hacking her as well. Basically being completely honest, like, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've been doing. This is what I know about you. I'm just as fucking lonely as you. I need help. Like running down the list of shit that he just knows and everything. And like I think it was really a cry for help. Like I really can't deal with this shit. Um yeah, opening in the new episode, Darlene wakes up in some strange dude's apartment, and the only reason why I wrote that down and brought it up is because she takes his gun.
Mhm.
She takes his gun, and then immediately after that goes to meet up with Angela at a ballet class, and this is when everybody finds out that they know each other.
it's like, yeah, like, how do you guys know each other? You know, it's like
Yeah, and such a good friends at that. They cut to All Safe, and Ollie is telling Elliot to go on a run, and Elliot's questioning him like, "What the fuck? There's people higher than me that should be doing this. I shouldn't be doing it." He's like, "Dude, just take it."
He's like, you know what? Your appointment's at 2 o'clock. You know what? Leave now. Leave now. Just leave now. He was like, well, it's only 12 o'clock. Dude, dude, dude. Look, I outrank you. Just do it. All right? Just do it.
When he realized how weird the fuck this was, and he hacks into Ollie's emails and was like, Angela, the fuck does Angela have this anything to do with this? Now, if we want to rewind just a little bit, Angela in the background has been trying to get in contact with Elliot throughout all of his shit, and she's just been pushing her off, blowing her off, and everything. He's like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, you weren't around. Like, what did you want me to do? He was like, you could have told me. He was like, I'm sorry. I've had a really rough month. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, nah, if I was Angela, I'm like, nigga, we've had a rough few years. Like, no.
Right.
I'm sorry your girlfriend died, but no. But yeah, it ends up being his meeting with White Rose. And White Rose allotted 3 minutes for that whole conversation. Yep, we meet White Rose.
Do you?
What?
Yes,
Dude.
you meet White Rose, the shadowy figure that she is.
Yes.
So White Rose reveals to Elliot that there's a honeypot, and he has no clue that there is a honeypot. And she was like, "Oh, well, that's disconcerting to me. You don't even know it's freaking there." And everything's like, "Well, you got 50 hours and 23 minutes to remove the honeypot and everything." So now he's like panicking and shit, like, "Oh shit, I don't have time," and everything. Gets back to All Safe. F Society throws on another video just for All Safe. I guess it was, yeah. He had called Darlene to, I guess, make the video and hack into All Safe so that they can see it for a distraction. Because we kind of cut scenes in that. And Gideon kind of peeps that, like, yo, the whole office is in my office looking at this video, but you're at your cubicle. What are you doing? Like, what? Now he's on his case. Now at this moment, he's on his case. Every time something's happening, it's happening around you. You are singled out in some way. What is going on? Now,
you're either hearing something happens or you're not hearing something happens.
Exactly. He said it's always circling around your disappearance and reappearance. Like, what is going on and everything. So from now, at least in Elliot's concern, Gideon is not a friend anymore because he's like, yo, you're up to something.
Now he's suspicious, and like now you got Gideon suspicious, and that puts the whole plan in jeopardy because that's the only reason why he has technical connection to Evil Court, through All Safe and stuff like that, and that could put a target on his back, put a target on Angela's back. It's too much at stake.
I can think the very next scene, another meeting of Mr. Robot by himself with somebody else. He meets with Tyrell in Coney Island. So they're in Tyrell's car talking and everything. I think he starts threatening him. I can't remember if that was that conversation. But yeah, they start talking. Now, yeah, they start talking, and now like, they have some type of relationship in a way.
He says, be careful because I know your little secret, and we don't know what the secret is at this point in time, but that's what Tyrell tells Mr. Robot. I know your secret, so be careful, Mr. Robot's like, bullshit, fuck out of here, like Mr. Robot is. Mr. Robot's
I forgot what it was that he said to him, but he was like, "Oh, you've been looking here, but you should have been looking above us." And he's like, 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 huh? And then so he runs home and tells his wife, and his wife is like, "The fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "God."
And then, mind you, right after that, knock on the door. Yeah, it's the detectives. We're asking about Sharon Knowles. Sharon Knowles got killed on the roof. Anybody know about that? Tyrell's is going like panicking and shit, and his crazy ass, intense ass wife, uh, oh snap, she starts going into labor, and the camera pans to a kitchen fork that she used
The
to,
little one.
yeah, that she used to uh puncture her vagina and
Oh.
induce labor. So that gets Tyrell out of that in that instance.
She is a ride or die chick.
Yes.
Yo,
Have my
Waha
baby
man,
premature just so I don't get locked up. She a ride or die chick.
Waha man, Waha man doing the man and the girl same time.
She just want to
She's a
be
ride.
strapped down.
She's a ride or die chick.
Word.
Tyrell was in the back like,
It's like, oh, I'm a daddy. Hey, hey, get the fuck out.
Shit. Tyrell made the beat. Oh man.
Alright. So like right after that, that's when Darlene and Elliot are talking in Coney Island, and like they're like, yo, this is really happening. I can't believe it. Da da da. She's like, I love you and everything. And then he leans in for a kiss. She's like, dude, what the fuck? So now we as the audience are like, huh? That's the normal move when you've been breaking into my house and acting all crazy, and you tell me you love me,
and cock
and now
blocking.
I'm lonely, cock blocking, and now I'm lonely. My girlfriend just died. I have all these feelings. What do you mean? Oh shit! Like, oh my god. So then he like we was talking about before. He freaks the fuck out, interrogates us. Now he can't trust us. Well, a little bit, not completely. He can't trust us because he thinks we knew all along. He goes home and hacks himself. Like, who the hell hacks themselves? Like, he's looking everywhere in servers that I have never seen before, but I obviously I wouldn't see them. But and like everywhere, he's like, I'm a
it's some,
ghost. What's going on? And everything. I was like, you deleted yourself. That goes through his whole thing of albums, and it sees one clear one. He's like, this gotta be me. All these pictures, and then he figures out that Mr. Robot is his father from the pictures, just clicking through them.
Yep.
And then he finally sees this picture of his whole family on the shelf that happened to be there the entire time. Like, how do you not see this, bro? Like, you didn't question the little girl in your you know what your mom looks
so.
like, at least, because throughout this whole thing, every time he gets traumatized by something, he sees glimpses of how his mom treated him. That's another thing we didn't mention. His mom terrorized them children. I hope they get deeper into that later on, because I really want to know, like, what happened.
Yeah, she seemed like really particularly shitty for, and had a husband who actually was, didn't seem like a shitty individual, or so like that's that let's hope for that in future seasons. The next season really.
So, the very next episode, now that we know that that's his father, we do a flat. Well, yeah, not the very next episode. Before we go to the next episode, he gets a knock at the door. It's Mr. Robot. We need to talk. You think, nigga? Like, what the fuck is going on? So the next episode, it cuts in, and it's a flashback of Elliot's dad at his shop. Shop is ironically called Mr. Robot. So he has the jacket and everything. He looks like what we were used to him looking like. And so Elliot, cut to reality, Elliot screaming at his dad, thinking like he faked his death. He's like, "You've been here the whole time. Why didn't you tell me?" Da 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 da, and everything. So Darlene and Angela are trying to find Elliot. Then Mr. Robot tells him, he's like, I'm gonna show you exactly where I've been hiding this whole time. So they take a trip back to Jersey, to Washington Township. In between all of this adventure, Tyrell gets fired because of not really, because he throws a hissy fit.
No.
So they go to his old house. I don't know how they got in there, but we all seen him pick a lock before. They go into his old house, go into his old room and everything. Mr. Robot's like, okay, we should leave because I don't know when the new family's getting back. Da da da. He's like, no, do you remember this? Isn't this the window you pushed me out of? And da 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 and everything. So he pushes Mr. Robot out the window. And then Darlene and Angela figure out to go to the house, and they go around and look outside and see glass. So you see glass from when Mr. Robot fell out the window. So Mr. Robot takes him to the graveyard, and that's when we get the big reveal of, no, he's dead. You're just seeing him. Because then the girls come up to him and it's like, Elliot, who are you talking to? Mm-hmm. He was like, what do you mean? What is he talking about? And then he looks down, there's nobody there. They pan back up to his face, and there's all these cuts and bruises. His ribs suddenly hurt, and he can't really walk. No, he tries to walk away. Yeah, he tries to walk away, and it's like, what the hell? What Mr. Robot tells him before he disappears is, they're gonna try to get rid of me again. Don't let them. So then he sits back down and just sits there, and then that's when he looks up at them and is like, what is he talking about? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? I think because we know from Krista that this has happened before, the drugs that he's supposed to be taking kind of eliminates that. They're going to take me away from you again. Don't let them.
That's what the medication is literally supposed to do. It's supposed to stop all of these, mental episodes and stuff, mental irregularities and things like that.
Yeah. Damn. So he hasn't been taking his meds.
Yeah. So, yeah, he hadn't been taking his meds. We know he hasn't been taking his meds because he just throws them away. And even Angela goes back to his apartment. He was like, all of these are empty. Have you even been taking them? Like,
damn, son.
Yeah, just that was like the biggest thing that happened that episode because we got Colby offers Angela a job, shows up at her dad's house. Her father's not really happy about that. Tyrell comes to Elliot's house and is like, tries to threaten him, put on his little plastic gloves, and
he threw on his bum punching gloves and shit. It's like, yo, have you ever killed someone? I'm like,
bonsoir, Elliot.
Bonsoir, Elliot.
Yo.
So, yeah. So basically, what happens in that episode? He was like, "Look, I know you're behind this. I want to know what it is and everything." Basically, he's pulling on straws because he just got fired. He's like, "All right, let's take him down. I want it." So he takes him all the way to Coney Island, show him that society. He asked him, he was like, who else is involved? Elliot's like, just me. And then he was like, and then at toward the end of the episode, he's like, what did you hope to accomplish with all this? He was like, I wanted to save the world. So the last episode, we opened to Krista's boyfriend coming to meet up with her. How he got her to meet him was saying, oh, I'm dying. So she's asking him how long, da da da. He's like, I'm not really dying. She's like, you're sick, motherfucker. You know that? And he's like, no.
You're not even supposed to wish it, that type of shit on you. Like,
you have to fake death, like fake illness, just to get someone to come see you, bro. Come on, man.
That's a shitball. Anyway. That's love. Nah, he was just trying to get his wife back.
that's when Sam Esmail tied in the back page dumps because then he's like, my wife found out anyway and left me.
Yeah, all
I
of the
can't see my kids.
what was the name of that? Ashley Madison.
Ashley Madison.
Ashley
Yeah.
Madison dumps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't want to end
So
up
his
on that website.
that's the thing. Elliot never made him tell his wife. Elliot just made him tell Krista. So Krista left him and all of that, but but his wife ended up finding out because of the Ashley Madison dump. So now he losing on both ends of,
To Elliot, he woke up in the parking lot in Tyrell's SUV. Like, what the fuck? And I actually know where that parking lot is. But parking lot in Manhattan. Now, how the hell did they get to Manhattan? And it's okay. What we find out in that scene is that it's been there for 2 days. So he woke up in the car, but he obviously wasn't in the car for 2 days. And then now Angela's working at E Corp. Elliot gets to the arcade and everything is what everybody's wiping stuff. Everybody's like, yo, where the fuck have you been? How the hell you gonna start it without us? And then like not even be here to clean shit up. Like, where the fuck have you been? So Darlene tells him the plan executed 3 days ago. So he's missing 3 days actually. Elliot goes looking for Tyrell at E Corp. They tell him that he's not there. Another F Society video goes live while he's at E Corp. So Elliot goes to Tyrell's house looking for him. He bumps into Joanna, and Joanna's trying to get answers. He was like, I just talked to him and he's not here yet. Da da da. So how do you know him? How do you work with him? Da 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 and everything, trying to fish for answers because she hasn't seen this nigga either. The dude from E Corp, James Plouffe? Plouffe? That's his name? That's
James Plouffe.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
James Plouffe. He's like all nervous and everything, yelling at Angela, tries to grasp at his bag and everything, gets on national television, tells everyone, yeah, we don't know what the fuck is going on. We don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know how to fix this. To be honest, it can't be fixed. Grabs a gun out, puts it in his mouth, blows his brains out. Right in front of Angela, blood all over her shoes, everything. So she's like in a daze, like she usually is in the wherever she is at that time. Price walks by her and basically talking to her and everything, gives her money to buy new invites her to like this company thing that's happening later that night. She's like, I don't know. He's like, well, if you decide, the invitation's still open, so do it with what you may.
Like, motherfucker, this nigga just blown his brains out. Like, give me a month.
But she was just like so removed. She was kind of like in shock about the whole thing because like she'd never really reacted aside from the initial oh shit of somebody. She never really reacted. If someone sees someone commit suicide on national television, like, and they're there and they got blood on their shoes, usually you're going to cry, you're going, like scream something. She didn't have any of that. She just dazed out, talked to Price. Price is like, come through, here's some money for some new shoes. She goes to the shoe store and the woman is like, yo, you were just there, right?
That wasn't a woman.
Oh yeah. The guy said, you were just there, right? And you're in here buying new shoes. And
you know what's crazy?
What got?
She wasn't even wearing Louboutins.
So, they weren't red bottoms. Those were red tops. Those were red tops.
Y'all so stupid. I can't.
But you know what? Then we start to see a different side of Angela because Angela really doesn't feel respected by about anyone, right?
Nah.
So this dude is coming at her and telling her how, basically she's a piece of shit for working for these people. She's a piece of shit for like not caring what these type of people do and stuff like that. All of that. And she's like, listen, nigga, I didn't ask you none of that shit. I said I want these in size 6. Now, you giving me them in a size 6? Okay then, nigga. Like I didn't ask you your opinion, nigga. You gonna get on your knees and you gonna put my shoes on for me. Like this is your job. Shut the hell up and do it now. So now you see like Angela a little bit like pushing her weight around a little bit. Like you don't ever really see Angela really doing that. It's more of a asking hand rather than a taking hand. You know.
Right.
So
Yo, she mad pussy.
yeah. and she's just like, I don't want to be pussy. I don't want to be cooch.
She strikes me as the type of person that like, yeah, she can be a puss, but it's like she's kind of put in that position to do that. She doesn't feel like she has any control.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's what
she's
it
like,
comes
okay, what do I do in this situation? And with this coming up, with all her, with Ollie, with her leaving Ollie and all this other stuff and everything, she's trying to find fucking purpose. So she opens up the case with her mom again. She's trying to get there. Um, I got yeah. So Elliot runs back to the SUV that's parked in the parking lot, trying to look for clues that Mr. Robot might have left him. Somehow he knew to move the sunroof, and some glasses fell in his lap, and it ended up being a USB drive. Like, who the fuck does that? So he goes to I think he was in a bar when he did it, or a diner or whatever. He pretends to get on the phone and confess to the cops and everything, right? So immediately he picks up the phone and all you see is Mr. Robot's hand like, all right, I'm here. What the fuck? Mr. Robot says another thing to him. Like, he has some good one-liners. He's like, you're losing it, kiddo. I'm only supposed to be your prophet. You're supposed to be my God. Now, this comes after he's interrogating him in the diner. He's like, yo, he's pushing him up against the wall. He's like, we're looking kind of crazy. Elliot's looking like this, like in real life.
Right.
He was like, you can't do anything to me, da 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 da, and everything. So he goes up to like the biggest dude in the diner talking about, your mother was good last night, yo. He's like, get away from me, little man. He's like, you want to smell her? Punches him dead in the face. Who's on the floor? Elliot. He was like, bro, I can make you do shit. Like, yo, that's when he said, yo, I'm supposed to be your prophet. You're supposed to be my God. You're supposed to tell me what to do. Like, bro, he was like, all right, you want to flex this muscle? Let's flex this muscle.
God damn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so Elliot goes. That's when Elliot goes to Times Square and everybody's like rallying. It's like basically thanking F Society, like yeah, da, 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 and everything. He's like, no, I didn't want this. I don't want this, and everything. And then he's talking to us like, can you help us? Can you help me? Like, I don't know what to do. Da 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 da. And Mr. Robot's right in his face, like, stop talking to them. They can't help us. He was like, yo, I have been so fucking patient with you. He's like, I am tired of all your whining and bitching. They can't help us, all right? It is me and you. That's it. Like, we have work to do. We don't have time for this shit. And then he was like, oh, something about reality. He was like, is any of this real? And he goes on a whole fucking tangent about reality. And Elliot's just standing there like,
yo, that like the monologues that are written in this show are like phenomenal. You know, I already talked about the Vera monologue after he killed Isaac, but this monologue that Mr. Robot has is really like crazy because he says like his final line of that monologue was, "I'm as real as the beef patty in your cheeseburger." Like, is it
What?
is it really that real? Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter if it's really real beef because it's real. You can eat it, you can chew it, and it tastes like beef. So does it matter exactly if it's real beef because it's still a hamburger, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, bro, you could say that I'm not real, but I'm still going, we still got beef. You know what I mean? Like we still
Right.
like I still got thoughts and I still got goals and I still got plans, and you're part of them. You know, like I'm tied to you, so you're tied to me. Like you know, but
So after that, Elliot's like, look, I just want to be alone. I just want to be alone. And everybody in literally all of Times Square clears out. And then his family pops up on one of the mega screens. He was like, look, you don't want to be alone. That's why we're here. He's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go on the train, get off at your stop, go home, and just enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So he goes home, does all of this, cries on the train, gets home, gets on the computer, looks at all the chaos, all of everything that's happening around the world because of S Society. Then he gets a knock at the door.
Mm.
And that's it.
end of season 1.
Mm.
So, just quick wrap up. Like, who you guys' favorite characters?
I really liked Romero, man.
Really?
I really like Romero. I like Mr. Robot. Um, Elliot is cool. He's cool. Um,
Yeah, like
that's about it.
like I was a big fan of Romero, at least like just because like he 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 seemed like the most suspicious one and the main one that like
Mm-hmm.
he really don't know. Like everybody else is kind of just like trying to achieve this shit, and this nigga's like, I don't know, and that shit actually turns out to really be a big part of the entire storyline.
Yeah,
Without Romero, the story changes like a big way.
because
Um, like
I think I kind of feel like Romero's like, yo, I went through this in the '80s, bro. Show me something new, like, like that's his attitude. And then when he was like, oh, this shit is bigger than big, like, I hope this shit pops off, because if this shit pops off, we on. Like, that's his attitude.
where, but I'm saying like I would have to say my favorite character, one of my favorite characters, even though I hated him and he's a complete shitball, one of the most shitballiest people in the whole shit, was Vera. Vera was extremely philosophical. Um this is like Killmonger type philosophy, like
Okay.
that whole hate yourself speech. He said, "Yo, like you don't know what real power is until you truly hate yourself." But
Wow.
like he said, I tried to kill myself, but I'm not good at that. I'm not good at biology, So I never could get that shit right. So what
Mm.
does he do? Take as much possible,
Mhm.
do damage to himself and others. Like
Damn.
really basic
That's
philosophy, but a really dark one.
that's fucking deep.
Sean?
Joey. I mean Romero. Yeah, Romero's pretty good.
Don't tell nobody.
I meant to say Romero. I'm sorry. I meant to say Romero. No, Romero's cool. Like I said, every time I think of him, I just think of Ice from Paid in Full. Like money making Elliot. But Elliot is cool. Um, but I think he had the best dialogue. Like the person who plays him like plays him really well, like a low life junkie,
Yeah,
drug addict,
drug addict slash drug dealers slash rapist slash just
Yeah.
maniacal, seedy individual. Like and he just seems to own it. I really think that the acting, as far as the first season, I feel like the acting in the show is completely phenomenal.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
everybody gives a really compelling performance as to who they are, and shout
Yeah.
out to Sam Esmail. He had a vision,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he casted perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought that some Egyptian kid would kill it like Rami did?
Yeah. I think I would say my top character would be Mr. Robot, being that because Christian Slater, he's just such an OG actor.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like when you see him, just like, oh, like he got this. Like it's kind of like everyone else is kind of working around him, you know.
Yeah,
And
and
it makes sense because he's the OG actor. It's like, oh, okay, he's like the main
yeah,
protagonist. Way.
but it
Yeah.
is like kind of cool because when you see him as a bum on the train, for the first episode and shit,
Mm.
you're like, that's Christian Slater. Like that's not no
Mhm.
regular bum. You know that bum got something to do with it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
exciting times in the world, exciting times. Like it, it's crazy.
Um,
Um,
I do want to point out like, oh wait, did everyone say their favorite character?
No, not me.
Oh, what's it?
Well, off the back, I'm like top favorite character. I'm gonna say Elliot
Hmm.
because he's complex, like really complex. You get like I like the fact that we are a pigment of his imagination, so you get to see they do the whole narrating thing without it being narrating
Mhm.
Hmm.
and everything. So you really get in his brain, like all his emotions and everything at every second of everything that's happening. And another character that people kind of sleeping on, Angela. Like I don't think we would see her as much if she didn't have a good role. They're trying to show different types of people in this world.
Mhm.
And I think she's kind of complex too. Like at first she's really simple and then she's like, no, I'm gonna go after this thing. And
Mhm.
like I'm gonna see where this takes me because I have nothing else. Like I need to do something.
Wait, did we talk about how she got shitted on when they went in for the briefing after the hack?
I mentioned it briefly.
She
yeah,
got shitted on, and what you call it, Elliot was trying to back her up, but they just pulled her out the room like, nah,
Yeah, I
nigga,
mentioned it
fuck
briefly
out of here.
when I was talking about the envelopes that he had. He had a white
Yeah,
envelope for F
yeah.
Society and a blue one that I think for Kobe, but I don't know where that blue one came from.
Hmm.
yeah. So like that in itself, that shows exactly like a lot of people that reviewed season one said that they had a problem with Angela, feel like she's not a purposeful character and stuff, but her character arc is necessary because you got to start to see exactly where she's coming from as far as being this figure that's really not respected by anybody. You see right there, the first time you see Angela, she's trying to plead her case as
Hmm.
to what's going on with the hacks and stuff like that, and she's like, Elliot, I need your help. You're the only one that could do this because I just got this account, like all of this other stuff. um so the second then you see that she gets completely dismissed in that one. Then Elliot, she's calling Elliot through the whole shit, through all of this shit going on, and he just dismisses her. She goes to Terry Colby's house, and Terry Colby is like, "Yo, well, look, suck on my balls, and once you have both my balls in your mouth, I want you to repeat your question clearly, and then I'll answer it." Like,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, like I said, you get all the way to the end of the season where the shoe salesman is trying to talk down to her, and she's like, "Nigga, shut up! Like, I'm not gonna put up with it anymore." And as far as the storyline goes, we won't talk too much about it now, but it changes where she is and who she is for season two.
Yeah.
She's she's a pussy. But no, everybody, but yo, no, for real, like anyone who works in IT knows an Angela. Like Angela's the type of person that if you don't know, if yeah, if you work in IT, like she's just the face. She doesn't really know much about IT. She's just kind of like the forefront. She's like kind of like just the regular work
What-
and just like, but she's
That's
cool
like
with all the IT, you know.
that's funny. Because there's actually a show called The IT Crowd, and this woman gets a job as the manager of the IT department, and she don't know shit about IT, you know, and like
Mm-hmm.
more or
I
less,
see.
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like what Angela got, and we won't talk about like you kind of get to wondering like how did she get this job, not going to answer it, but how did she get this
That's
job?
how she got the fucking job. Oh, that's how Angela got the fucking job.
Stop that shit, Sean. She
Yo,
did it.
I have
yo,
I
You
have a theory.
disrespected Angela like
yo,
crazy.
you like,
She
yo, let me check your knees real quick. Let me
like
check your
damn,
knees. Why are your knees so red?
is she damn, is she a pussy or a whore? Like damn.
She's a pussy whore.
I have a I
Oh,
have a theory, but I'll save it for next episode.
all right.
Okay, so who's everybody's least favorite character?
My
Ty-
least favorite character.
Tyrell.
Really?
He's a bitch ass nigga.
Uh,
Like, you know why I say that? Because he's going through every angle, every avenue, every street, every boulevard to get to where he wants to get, and then when he doesn't get it, he throws a bitch fit.
Oh yeah.
And then he changes his whole aspect of life and changes his whole like everything about himself. Oh, I didn't get the job. Like you little bitch.
Yo,
Suck it up. You lost your job. Go get a fucking another job. Like
yeah.
it's life,
oh,
motherfucker.
it's bigger than that, man.
They found out like
I
wait a
know.
minute. How do you spell Tyrell? Tyrell? Get out of here. You're fired.
That's fucked up.
his blood his bloodline ain't lined up with the fuck they was looking for.
Yo, found out.
God.
It found out his birth certificate like a hospital in Brownsville. Hey, wait a minute.
He's born in Kings County.
Wait,
No wonder,
But
my
Tyrell.
that's a,
least favorite,
yeah.
my least favorite character, Isaac. Like that actor, I've seen him in other stuff. He's a pretty good actor,
Wasn't
but
he in Coach Carter?
yes, with a big afro. Yes, that was him.
Or
Um, him in this role, he was just so fucking annoying. So fucking annoying. Like his energy was just too sporadic for me. Like what Elliot was feeling like, yo, something ain't right about this nigga. Let me look into this nigga. Like I was feeling that too. Like, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like by the time it came to the end, I was like, okay, he died. I don't know if it was a good thing that he died, but like, okay. Like he just hit something about his character just pissed me off. I don't know, maybe I don't want to say he didn't act it right because he's a pretty good actor. It's just his energy was real sporadic.
Well, I mean,
I
if it
think
makes you hate
that's
him, then yeah,
yeah,
he
I
did the
think that's a
job.
good job. You know why? Because his energy was real sporadic because he was really shaky from the beginning. He set up Vera's whole uh organization and everything and online, and everybody, all of the details is online and stuff like that. So he's like, it's really not some deep code that isn't going to get decoded. Elliot picked it apart and subbed it to everybody. So, dropped it in a link. Then, all of the Vera goes down, and he's trying to get Vera killed while he's in jail. So it's like, yeah, Isaac is just like a completely dishonest person. As soon as he saw that, Elliot was about to get him out of jail, get the fuck in the car. Get the fuck in the car. Yo, it's just not your day, bro. Just not your day. So, I mean,
Like Elliot's actually trying to figure shit out, and then he just comes up to him and slaps him in the back of the head. Like, what the fuck? Yo.
yeah. But I mean, like, he was like, yo, Flipper started barking, and Elliot's like, yo, I gotta walk her, or like, she's going to piss on the floor. Do I give a shit about your floor? And then, and then you got DJ who's over there rolling a blunt, like, this nigga, you stupid. He was like, yo, I'm bugging, right? You could take her. You know, turns out it was Darlene with a dog whistle and shit. But it's like, if I had to say my least favorite character would probably be my least favorite character. Yo, I'm just gonna say it again because just because he did it so well, I'm going to say Vera again. Oh my gosh. Vera is my least favorite character just because he's such a bad guy. My all out favorite character is Mr. Robot. Just for philosophical reasons. For the same reason I hate Vera so much, and Vera is my second favorite character. Maybe third behind Elliot, but
you love him and hate him at the same time.
yes, because he's so fucking shady. He's just
You-
like he's there's a lot of characters that try to dance the line of moral right and wrong. Vera is one of those characters that doesn't give a fuck about that line of moral right and wrong. There's very few characters, especially in this first season, that you see characters really not caring about right and wrong. Like you got to save these people. You got to do, this. You got to do that. Vera is like, yo, I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong. This is what I'm gonna do. This is my woman. I raped her first. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's how he feels. Like so, but yeah,
He's a sack of shit, basically.
yeah, a complete steaming pile of shit. But but yeah, the very 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 last scene of the season we didn't actually touch. We see uh Commander Zhao and Price sitting in a room by a fireplace. We don't know what this means, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't even really know who Commander Zhang is straight off the bat,
Right.
but this is very peculiar. Like I'll put it together who it was, you know, but
Every rose has its thorn.
so it's like now it sets it up like why is White Rose sitting with Price? We completely left with a bunch more questions and stuff like that. Um, and we just know that now they're stuck. They're in too deep. Like they have to move forward with shit. You know, but yeah. So
Is a is a white rose or white rose? You
uh,
know what I mean? It's a little sass
Right.
on
right.
Right.
So
white rose.
yep. So that has been the season one review of The Robot by the Uncelebs podcast. Make sure that you stay tuned, hit that like and subscribe button so that you can see all of our content every time that we drop it. And trust me, this is a big year coming up. We got a lot of content coming for you, especially this right here, the Mr. Robot review. So, on that note, I'm Dre on motherfucking drums.
Me, aka nostalgic.
I'm Steffi Nomadic Goddess.
I'm still solo.
Yeah, it spills all backwards. We out.
Yeah.
We out.